Good evening and welcome to the Monday edition of Source 16 News at 10. Thanks for joining us. Near this hour, flood projections are worse than what officials predicted. Governor Steve Beshear today warned citizens in western Kentucky that flood projections are deteriorating faster than expected and announced plans to visit several affected counties again tomorrow. Local officials today began evacuating residents in Hickman, Ledbetter, and Smithland due to the rising water. The governor also directed the opening of a regional emergency coordination center at the Benton Armory in Marshall County to assist local response efforts. As a result of more rain this weekend, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers predicts the lower Ohio River will crest at 58 feet, 3 feet above the earlier prediction, putting homes and businesses at risk. The Kentucky National Guard deployed 100 soldiers to the city of Ledbetter to aid evacuation efforts. Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife officers equipped with 8 of their boats will assist in these evacuations. Another 15 Guard troops were deployed to McCracken, Fulton, and Livingston counties to help with emergency planning and resource management. According to officials, about 200 roads are closed across the state due to flooding. And as we just reported, evacuation efforts are underway in Fulton County due to the flooding conditions. With the current water level projections and at the recommendation from the Corps of Engineers, Transportation Cabinet engineers are closing Kentucky 94 in Fulton County at the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. Spokesman Keith Todd says this is from mile point 0 to the dip at the 11-mile marker. He reports the county has begun evacuation procedures for all the homes located in the lower bottom area, and highway crews are placing road-closed barricades. The evacuation includes West City of Hickman and the lower bottoms. And in Hopkinsville, officials were starting to evacuate Rose Acres off West 7th Street due to flooding, and Dawn Drive off of Millbrook Drive is reportedly impassable due to floodwaters, as well as several other roads in the city. Meanwhile, some local Kentucky Baptist chainsaw teams are on their way to assist with disaster recovery in Alabama. 7 teams, including volunteers from Cadiz and Benton, are traveling to Dutton, Alabama to help with last week's devastating tornadoes. The volunteers, including 2 mobile shower units, will operate from Happy Home Baptist Church in Henniger, Alabama. Kentucky is just one of several state Baptist conventions responding to meet needs following the storms that left over 300 people dead. Donations to assist with this and other disaster responses can be made at kybaptist.org/DR. Kentucky State Police Post 1 in Mayfield are cracking down on anyone who disregards those traffic barriers due to flooding. State police say motorists who disobey the devices are putting their lives at risk, as well as the emergency personnel charged with rescuing them. Anyone found to be disregarding the measures are in violation of the law, and state police say you will be cited. If barriers are not in place, state police strongly urges motorists to not travel through any water-covered road and says motorists should develop a contingency plan in the event they cannot make it back to their residence. Meanwhile, numerous roads around the viewing area are closed due to flooding, and motorists need to use extreme caution when traveling. In other news, there was some big news out of Washington, D.C. last night. Osama bin Laden, the reported mastermind behind the worst terrorist attacks on American soil, is dead. The al-Qaeda leader was killed by U.S. forces in Pakistan, along with 4 others at the compound. One of them was reportedly bin Laden's adult son. Military officials say bin Laden's body was later buried at sea. After hearing news reports of bin Laden's death, Senator Rand Paul issued a statement saying, quote, "I commend our troops, the intelligence community, and the military leaders involved in both the administrations of Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama for their perseverance and courage in pursuit of the most grievous enemy of the United States of America." Meanwhile, 1st District Congressman Ed Whitfield of Hopkinsville issued the following statement today. Quote, "It is not an understatement to say that the death of one of the most notorious perpetrators of terrorism across the world, Osama bin Laden, is a triumph for the world and an indisputable victory in the war on terrorism." He went on to say many of America's men and women in uniform, including many of those from Fort Campbell, have served in this mission, and we honor their service and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice in execution of this mission. And U.S. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell made the following remarks on the Senate floor today regarding the successful operation in which bin Laden was found in Pakistan and killed. Quote, "Today, Americans and all who long for justice woke to the news nearly 10 years after the U.S. set out to kill or capture Osama bin Laden. Justice has been done." He went on to say the man who orchestrated the 9/11 attacks and who reveled in the horror of that day is dead, and the last thing bin Laden saw on this earth was a small team of Americans who shot him. Unconfirmed reports indicate Fort Campbell's 160th Special Operations Aviation Group may have assisted a Navy SEALs team in the death of Osama bin Laden. Source 16 contacted the U.S. Army Special Operations Command, but Army officials would neither confirm nor deny that Fort Campbell troops were involved in connection to bin Laden's death. In other news, the Todd Papul for Attorney General campaign announced today that their fundraising period got a strong boost from an event in Madisonville. The event, headlined by U.S. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, grossed over $100,000. Papul thanked Senator McConnell for his help in the campaign boost, saying, quote, "I'm proud to have the support of Senator McConnell, who has served Kentucky so well. Having his support in this race is truly humbling and tremendously helpful as we work to assemble a winning effort this fall." 2 of 6 local youths charged in the July 2009 beating death of a Hopkinsville man accepted plea deals offered by the Commonwealth today in Christian County Circuit Court. Under the plea deal, Tavian Spencer, who was originally charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence, pled guilty to tampering with physical evidence and had his murder charge amended down to second-degree murder for a 15-year sentence to run consecutively. As part of the deal, Spencer may be required to testify against one of his co-defendants, Cortez Lynch, who is scheduled to go on trial on June 27th and 28th. He was also ordered to speak to area teens about anti-violence and gangs at 10 different speaking engagements and have a mental evaluation conducted before his final sentencing. Meanwhile, German Childs also appeared in court today and pled guilty to criminal mischief and had his murder charge amended to second-degree manslaughter for a 15-year sentence to run consecutively. Judge John Adkins also allowed the 2 males, who are both under house arrest and outfitted with ankle monitoring devices, to attend weekly church services with their families. Spencer and Childs, along with 3 other co-defendants, LaKagle Kendrick, Jeremy Denson, and Devontae Hampton, will be formally sentenced on July 12th. As we previously reported, the 6 males are charged with murdering 41-year-old John Lyle on July 23, 2009, who was reportedly a drug informant. Well, another New Wave Communications office in Western Kentucky has been robbed. Although details have not been released by Fulton Police, New Wave Communications at 509 Broadway in South Fulton was reportedly robbed at gunpoint around 10 o'clock this morning. Meanwhile, Benton Police Department Chief Tracy Watwood told Source 16 this afternoon that the man who robbed New Wave Communications on West 15th Street in Benton at knife point last week is in jail after he was arrested in Paducah in connection to another robbery. He says they are awaiting charges to be lodged against the man in Paducah before charging him in Marshall County. Police reported that the man walked into New Wave Communications at 315 West 15th Street in Benton Thursday afternoon and demanded money with a knife. The man left the store with an undisclosed amount of money and a 42-inch television and then fled the scene in a car. New Wave Communications is the parent company of Source 16. Fulton and Graves County school districts, along with Murray Independent Schools, were among several Kentucky schools to set a new education record. Kentucky teachers and principals who participated in similar surveys like Kentucky's Teaching, Empowering, and Leading Kentucky Survey, otherwise known as TEL, set a new record for first-time response rates. According to the nonprofit organization New Teacher Center, Kentucky's overall response rate was at 80.2%, with 91% of Kentucky schools meeting the minimum 50% response rate. Mississippi previously held the highest participation record with 67%. Kentucky State Police collected over 300 pounds of prescription drugs over the weekend. During a national take-back initiative, KSP reports the agency collected 309 pounds of prescription drugs from individuals who wanted to discard their unwanted medications. The program was organized by the Drug Enforcement Administration and is intended to give people the chance to dispose of their unwanted medications in a safe and convenient way. KSP drop-off sites accounted for 16 of the 5,300 sites across the nation that participated in the initiative. According to state police, 389 pounds of prescription drugs were collected during the fall 2010's Take Back initiative. For area residents who want to report suspicious drug activity, contact KSP's toll-free hotline at 1-800-367-3847. Well, a Calvert City man was arrested by the Marshall County Sheriff's Department Saturday after an alleged break-in at a residence. Police were dispatched to Retirement Circle in Calvert City in reference to a subject breaking into a house. According to police, the burglar chased and hit the victim inside the residence and destroyed the interior of the home. 29-year-old Wayne Lassiter of Calvert City was arrested and charged with first-degree burglary, second-degree criminal mischief, and fourth-degree assault. He was lodged in the Marshall County Detention Center. Now it's time to take a look at some upcoming chamber events brought to you by the Hopkinsville Christian County Community Vision Plan. One of the chamber's newest members, Pyle Casket and Vault Company, will host a ribbon cutting tomorrow morning at 11:30 at 601 South Virginia Street in downtown Hopkinsville. Christian County Cares 2015 is proud to bring Chick-fil-A LeaderCast to Christian County for the first time, where you will hear from 11 of the world's most respected voices on leadership. The LeaderCast will be held Friday from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Restoration House on Fort Campbell Boulevard. For more information, call Jeremy Stevenson at 270-885-9096. And the Alpha Alternatives 20th Annual Fundraising Banquet, 20 Years of Making a Difference, will be held Monday evening, May 9th from 6 to 8 at the James E. Bruce Convention Center. Seating gets underway at 5:30. If you would like to be a corporate sponsor to help cover some of the banquet expenses so all proceeds from the night can go directly to Alpha's programs, please call 270-885-3820. These chamber events are brought to you by the Hopkinsville Christian County Vision Plan. And Tuesday's Mega Millions jackpot's up to $51 million, and Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $36 million.